Doug Gilworth here, and we're going to look in this clip at how long the tribulation term is. Many who believe in the tribulation term believe that it is exactly 7 years long, and I want to try and prove to you that it cannot be exactly 7 years long. Has to be at least 7 years, but would be some amount of time beyond that. The first and foremost reason for that is that Jesus said in Matthew 24, verse 36, that no man is going to know the day nor the hour of his second coming. And if the tribulation is exactly 7 years long, a lot of people will know that and still be here on earth. And the Antichrist is going to sign a treaty with Israel on the day the tribulation begins. So there would be folks here who would know all that, and they would be able to calculate forward 7 years and know exactly when Jesus' second coming was going to be. So therefore it cannot be. It has to be at least 7 years to fulfill Daniel's 70th week and Israel's the end of Israel's era. But it will have to be a little bit longer than that. The second reason that it's longer than 7 years is because 3 of Daniel's day prophecies go beyond 7 years. Daniel's 1290-day prophecy, the 1335-day prophecy, and the 2300-day prophecy all begin at the midpoint of Daniel's 70th week. After 3.5 years have taken place, the abomination of desolation takes place, and that's the beginning of all 3 of these day prophecies of Daniel's, and they all go past the 7 years into a third, approximately 3.5 year term. The third reason is because of John's prophecies. He has several prophecies that go beyond the 7 years as well. The 2 witnesses are introduced about the 6.5 year mark of Daniel's 70th week. And it's also told that Antichrist is going to rule for an additional 42 months, about that 6.5 year mark, and a couple of other prophecies that John makes that go beyond the 7 years. We don't have time to get into all those in detail, but please get the book, The Traveler's Timetable to the Tribulation Transition. All these will be listed more in detail in those, and the scripture verses and references and the like. You can find that on Amazon or many other sites. But also, additional time is required after Daniel's 70th week is concluded to convert flesh and blood humans. God's plan for his kingdom was for flesh and blood humans to procreate and populate, and in the future it'll be the populating the millennial kingdom during the time of the last 1,000 years here on earth, on this earth, and then populating the new heavens and the new earth. It's going to take flesh and blood to accomplish that. Now, the nation Israel will be receive victory over death, and they'll have glorified bodies, just like the church's glorified bodies, just like all the branches will receive glorified bodies. They won't be procreating. But an additional time period after Daniel's 7 years, after the 70th week, is required to convert flesh and blood. Both Jacob's descendants and Gentiles will be saved during that time. The last reason is from the 3 judgments in the book of Revelation, the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 vials or bowls or plagues. We see the 7 seals taking place over the first 3.5 years. We see the 7 judgments clearly concluding at the point that Israel is receiving victory over death when they are taken out. The 7 trumpets conclude around the end in chapter 14 and early chapter 15, and you see Israel being taken out in the what's called the reaping, and then placed before the throne in chapter 15. And then that's the end of the 7 years. So, I mean, the 7 vials and plagues and bowls judgment, actually only one of those, but the 7 plagues, vials, or bowls has to take place over a period of time. And it would be reasonable to think that that period would be around 3.5 years as well, since the first two were. But we know from Jesus' statement that it cannot be exactly 10.5 years long, or somebody could calculate forward and know when his second coming was. So I think it'll be about 3.5 years, but cannot be exactly that. And plus his statement that except those days be shortened, no flesh would be saved, would indicate that it maybe would have, you would think of it being 3.5 years, but that will be shortened. So about 10.5 years, but not exactly.